This is going to be a casual conversation where you guys are our stars for the day. We'll be using this to share with the Leading RE network. I'm going to kick it off with just a roundtable of introductions, and then we're going to go into a few questions on how things work, because everyone that is going to be watching this now has access to a Leading RE MAXA platform. And with that, Leading RE and MAXA partnered to provide content that's very dedicated to the Leading RE brand. So a lot of affiliation with Leading RE, templates for social media, for print, that Leading RE has been designing with us and providing all of the affiliates and members of leading real estate companies of the world. It's pretty neat. The templates are gorgeous. They automatically brand to the brokerage, and they're really just for the marketing department at each brokerage. So the marketing departments who get access can see all this beautiful content. They can use it to promote their brokerage, their affiliation with Leading RE. And it works very similar to different design editing systems where it's already a pre-designed template where they can open these designs. It automatically pre-fills with their brokerage branding, and they can use it to promote their brokerage's brand affiliated with Leading RE. Tons of property-related content, real estate tips, market updates, a lot of ideas and content. Now, what's unique with you guys is you have your own MAXA platform. So Leading RE created their own platform, and you guys have your own instance where you decided to customize our system to then provide your content to all of your agents. And there's a lot of additional things we can do when we're custom creating this experience per brokerage. And I wanted to bring you guys in to have you share what you did with your experience for your agents, for the rest of the Leading RE members, so they get an idea of what they can do if they work with us to build their own instance.
Thanks, James. Hi, I'm Julie Day. I'm the Chief Marketing Officer of Windermere Real Estate. We are in 9 states along the West Coast in Western US, and currently we have about 6,000 agents. So what led us to MAXA is that we have had in the past a lot of different places where we have stored creative. And with that many different agents, we have to think about how to provide marketing assets for the people who and the agents who absolutely love marketing and want to completely customize their own things, to the folks that don't really want to deal with it and just kind of want something really easy, ready off the shelf. So, kind of balancing both of those types of mindsets and everything in between. We've been trying to do a lot in a lot of places and finding that to be highly inefficient for us and our marketing team. So Max is a really great option because it allowed us to put our entire creative library in one place and be able to distribute that in a lot of different ways that just made it a lot simpler for our folks and allowed a level of customization that we could also control from a branding standpoint.
That was the original dream, was, hey, how can now I started as a designer working inside of a marketing department for real estate back in 2013. And it's, how do we give agents brand compliant marketing assets that they could use, stay on brand, not go crazy, not go rogue, but do it in a way where they were self-sufficient and was really easy. And that's awesome. Thank you, Julie. I'm going to come back to you too, as well, with more questions. Once we introduce Matthew from Brown Harris Stevens and what led you to MAXA.
Thank you for the invite first, James. I'm Matthew Leone. I'm a Chief Marketing Officer for Brown Harris Stevens. We're based in the New York City, New York metro area, as well as South Florida. But when it comes to MAXA, what really drew us was we had a conversation with our colleagues at T360, and they evaluated our use of technology, and they did an incredible job of just sort of grading us in some areas good, some areas not so good. And in one of the areas that we had, which was sort of self-service marketing, we did have a current tool which wasn't as mobily compliant and wasn't easy to use in the form that people are used to using it now in Canva and such. And it also wasn't as on brand as we would like. There was too much flexibility where an agent could have a little bit too much creative liberties with. And we feel like if we're going to let the reins to the agent, which we have no problem doing, we wanted to make sure that it's somewhat on brand. And when we did do the evaluation of the product and tested it with you, James, we found that it was as close to Canva as you were going to get. It was very easy to use on mobile. And it gave some creative flexibility, but in areas that we were okay with them doing, rather than them changing things that were completely off brand, like a font or a color or a size that was too big or something that made it look like something we never designed. I wanted to look like one of our senior designers designed that product when it goes to public. And don't get me wrong, there is a skill that a senior level designer has that makes it perfect, but as close to perfect as you're going to get to allow someone to do it on the weekend or after 5 o'clock or on a holiday, or if they just need it right now. It's an incredible tool, especially for agents that are coming into this industry that are used to social media, creating their own content. And they're like, no, I could do this. I'm a designer, and they almost live on that. So we cater to them, as well as, like Julie was saying, cater to the ones that want to try to do it themselves. Maybe they may not be incredibly comfortable, but they're excited about trying.
I agree. I remember when we spoke maybe 3 or 4 years ago, you were really looking for something that was a controlled environment, but you knew your agents, and they are pretty self-sufficient, and they believe that they're designers and that they could do it. If we could give them a sandbox where that they could do it on brand, it would save a lot of time. So Remington actually was one of our first leading RE members. Gosh, we've been together for probably close to 4 years. He had a different tool that he was using and decided to switch over to us. Please, Remington, introduce yourself and what led you to MAXA.
Sure. So my name is Remington Reese. I'm the creative director for the Heavy Holiday Companies. We are a little over 2,000 agents, and we have 3 different brokerage brands in North Texas and Oklahoma. I think, simply put, MAXA is the best solution that I've personally found to the problem that we all face, which is how do you maximize, efficiency without forsaking consistency. And so this tool, it lets the agents execute kind of within our own brand standards. It doesn't, turn into a big bottleneck on the corporate marketing side of things, having to, facilitate the execution of kind of bare minimum listing collateral. And then there's also a lot of opportunities to encourage and grow the custom agent brands within our bigger umbrella. And in the past with other platforms, it's just, and every time I say this out loud, I think, my God, the way we're set up is insane. And anybody listening to this must think we're insane. But having 3 broker brands all able to live within one platform and one environment makes my life infinitely easier, my team's life infinitely easier. And then being able to service the sometimes radically different agent brands all within one platform, just the amount of time that saved over the years, and frankly, the mental health of myself and my team. It's not there are very few fire drills over insignificant projects and requests now, which has been just night and day difference from where we were a couple of years ago.
That's really awesome. We work with a lot of brokerages that have a lot of different brands that they serve inside of one brokerage, or mega teams that they serve. And that's actually leads me to my second question, which was, what unique way did you use MAXA to serve your brokerage? And let's dive deeper into that, Remington. How did you guys utilize the MAXA system to serve the different brands?
Yeah, it's again, the way we're set up is strange at the best of times, but the 3 different brands are all very, very different from an aesthetic standpoint, but they all operate kind of within the same market. There's a lot of overlap. And so, the accusations of favoritism or, preferring one brand over the other, or propping, one brand up over another, has always been an issue on my end. But The reality is whenever there's an idea, really at any level, no matter what problem it's trying to solve, as soon as it gets approved and gets into that, okay, we're ready to execute this. On my end, that means it has to be executed 3 different times, all in the same way in terms of content, but again, very different aesthetically and the ultimate markets that they're serving. And so that's arguably the thing I'm most proud of with MAXA, is that we're able to competently do that in one platform. We've been successful in the past with other platforms, but it would be with 3 different logins, 3 different environments. It would always be a tedious nightmare to hop out of one and hop into the other. And then when you're talking about having to redo things 3 or 4 times, depending on what brand you're trying to set up with the product, again, it's just a much more efficient system having everything under one umbrella and one platform. And then just the level of control that comes with that, obviously the consistency, but at the risk of sounding like a control freak, I want to be able to edit the templates. I want to have that level of control. I don't want to be with a service partner where if there is an issue or an agent, calls me or one of my team members saying, hey, there's an issue, and then I have to contact the vendor and say, hey, here's what the issue is. And they'll say, oh, here's your ticket number. We'll try to get to it in the next 2 weeks. That's been the biggest pain point over the last 10 years on my end. So being able to hop in and fix that on our own and then having that level of control in the back end, it's just been a game changer.
And what about you, Julie? We just recently launched this year, maybe 3-4 months ago, and you guys took a lot of time to develop the MAXA system inside of your overall tech stack, your overall vision. What would you say are you most proud of that was unique to how you used MAXA inside of the tools that you were providing?
One of the things that has been great to partner with you all on, James, is the workspaces feature that we've just launched. And so Windermere is a franchisor, and so we have all of our offices are independently owned. And so while I can ask very nicely that everyone comply with our marketing, they don't really have to. So, we a lot of great stuff out there, but a lot of the agent support and agent marketing is managed at either a regional or an office level. And so Workspaces has really allowed us to create a great environment that everyone is comfortable in, but then allow for super localized, relevant content within a specific office for those agents only that helps them feel unique and special, but still compliant, still using the platforms are really helpful in increasing adoption across the board.
Yeah, and Workspaces really is something unique that we launched this year, because not only did we want to give agents a sandbox or an environment to be creative and self-serve their marketing, but for large enterprise brokerages, we wanted to give the different silos of marketing teams and graphic designers their own workspace to provide marketing templates for the agents that they particularly serve. So if I'm an agent, if I'm an admin of an office, I want to serve this particular office with custom templates. I now have the power to do that, or I'm enabled to do that. Or if I'm a graphic designer of a mega team, I have the ability to do that. And the Windermere team, we're one of the first to launch it and really take use of how this different levels of control and marketing distribution could work from an admin side and an agent side. And so that's really neat that you're proud of that, Julie. I love that you chose that feature as the one that stood out for you. And Matt, let's talk about you, because you guys are really big on social, video, all types of tools, and MAXA is just in the middle of it all. What are you most proud of the way you guys took the MAXA features into your system?
I think the feature that we love the most is the ability to have a team that has joined our company, be equipped within like 2-3 days of templates that have their branding that we've already pre-built for them or brought over from another brokerage. They're used to, feeling like there's a brand within a brand there, and they value their brand as much as the corporate brand. So like that, this is used more often for teams than individuals in my experience. So it's a value for the team. The team usually has an admin or their own marketing person, and they feel empowered to not have to come back to us constantly for compliance. So we allow them to sort of have some liberties. And that to me is our greatest advantage of this system, is that we've all of a sudden become like team friendly, and a place where teams would flourish. And this would just be one of those tools that would allow them to do it. So this was a nice addition to the suite of services we provide teams, which I think is, again, this is not anything new, but is a trend when a lot of new agents that come to the market in a down market cannot necessarily support themselves alone. They tend to be joining teams upon a career in real estate, especially for the first few years. And teams have become more popular for us in our markets. And this has allowed us to equip them with doing things immediately and efficiently.
Yeah, one thing that our audience may not know that's watching this is, in the admin system of MAXA, you guys have the ability to upload and create your own custom dynamic templates. And those templates can be available for all agents or specific teams or specific departments like the luxury division or specific offices. And so it can be very manageable of how you're distributing content, the type of content and templates you're providing. And so that's what Matt and Julie are referring to when they talk about their ability to make very specific templates per team, or allowing the admins to have their own workspace to create templates for their agents. So Remington, you guys have now hit just shy of 85,000 designs in the MAXA system since, with your 2,000 agents. That's insane. It's like pretty neat. Just even since October, you guys have created close to like 7,500 designs from the agents. And it's really neat. I love following you guys because we've been together for 4+ years now. And I'm always like crossing my fingers that this is like still working out, because this was an idea that I drew on a napkin back in 2017. What would you say has been part of the success or the agent reaction as they learn about the MAXA system and you guys are showing it to them? What do you feel that makes them come back to use it, and that how you guys have gotten to so many designs created by the agents, which really streamlined your marketing department?
I think it's ultimately the versatility of the platform. We're a legacy company. 2025 is our 80th anniversary, and so obviously with 80 years comes a lot of success, legacy, and stuff like that. But it also comes with 80 years of baggage, and we have a lot of agents that in the past would refuse to learn any new tools, refuse to learn the new technology, and that kind of culture and mentality was just really pervasive in really every stream in the company. And so being able to give them a platform that, you'll have these agents that all they want to do is they want a platform that will execute social media graphics. They can have that, they can go and have their fun in there and have tremendous success within that. You have other agents that, come from marketing and design backgrounds, which more often than not is the absolute scariest thing that an agent can tell me, is that their background is design. I immediately start panicking when they say that, but it lets them have, as much fun as, we as the corporate entity are comfortable allowing them to have, which is really quite freeing on their end, admittedly, sometimes to a fault. But those kind of agents can do a lot. And then if you have the agent that has zero interest in learning anything new, but knows in the back of their mind that they kind of need that, we can use the platform to empower either their assistant to execute on their behalf or their office staff to execute on their behalf, and just log into the platform and spoof their account and do everything as if they were the agent. And so it's kind of a, marketing and design catch-all on my end, where there's really not a scenario at this point in which it's not a benefit in some capacity at the agent level. And after 4 years, the proof is in the numbers, I guess. We've had platforms in the past and even currently have tech tools where you get this kind of, qualitative feedback where you're at a awards event or a conference and someone says, oh, by the way, I like this, I'm using it. And so but in the back of your mind, you're kind of like, I don't yes, this person is very tech savvy, but is the general agent population liking this, using it, embracing it? And so being able to hop into the analytics tab in the admin panel and actually confirm, hey, not only is it being used, it's being used beyond our wildest expectations over the past 4 years, has just been phenomenal.
And Julie, yours system is really interesting because I don't know if you saw in your analytics, but you guys launched a few months ago. You guys were creating about 4,000 or 5,000 designs a month. And then all of a sudden this month, I have two questions for you because I would love to hear just the initial feedback from launch, but also December, you guys went from like 4,000 or 5,000 designs to like 20,000 designs in December. So it was a major jump. I'm sure a lot of it has to do with our new automated listing marketing packages being auto-created on behalf of the agent and emailed to the agent to review. But talk to us just originally, I worked with you very closely in the beginning to not only prepare our partnership, work on our partnership, but then go through onboarding. How has it been now since we actually went live and the agents have access to the Windermere Design Studio?
Yeah, the agent reception has been great. I mean, we launched in May, so we don't have a whole lot of runway here on this. But when we launched, it was the most widely adopted tool in the shortest amount of time that we've ever seen. So that was really, really encouraging for us. And just a little bit of table setting. At Windermere, we're basically turning over our entire tech stack this year. So MAXA is one of several components. So we're asking an awful lot of our agents right now. And to go from what you said, James, with this sort of, a good pace and then all of a sudden ramping up, it means that it's sticky. People are finding value in it. I think you're right. The automated marketing packages has been huge. We were on MAXA Impress for a long time, and we didn't have a significant amount of adoption there. But MAXA's platform not only just, does it make it easy, but I think the design aesthetic that just is naturally built within MAXA templates that you all create is a time saver, and it's, it just looks good and it feels professional and it's easy to use.
Matt, I remember when I first met you, it seemed like I was like, oh man, I really got to prove that MAXA is going to be worth it to the Brown Harris Stevens team. We've now been together for, close to 3 years now, maybe more than 3 years. And luckily I've been able to stay on the team with you guys. What would you say has been the agent response over the last 3 years in general?
It's been very good. I think the reason why it's been good is that we built an in-house intranet that had ordering systems in place where agents can go in and quasi, lay out their piece, and then a designer would finish the job and create it from scratch. And what we did is, in the launch of it, we integrated sort of a SSO plugin where if someone is doing the design and they're like, wait, there's something up here that says I could just do it myself and it's going to be like Canva. I'm gonna click on that. And we get so much adoption from what people are used to going to, and then they look at it and like, I could just do it myself and save some time. That's what has led to our adoption. I think we look at adoption in like active agents. I don't really necessarily look at like, part-time agents, referral agents in that adoption numbers, because they'll come here and there everywhere when a listing comes in. So they're not necessarily everydayers. So I think amongst our active agents, our adoption is one of the best within our tech stack, which is very good news. And it has allowed our other tech stacks to get more adoption as well. With our CRM and with our intranet, they're sort of all intertwined. So they're all feeding off each other to build adoption on the other platforms, which is awesome.
This is a fun question. It's like, what would you guys say is the area that saved you the most time? Just like for utilizing MAXA, what part of this marketing, production, agent servicing that it saved you the most time? Because I meet with a lot of brokerages where they were following the trend for a long time, especially smaller brokerages. You guys are larger where you had to grow past this already. But a lot of smaller other brokerages are like, oh, we need to do everything for the agent. It needs to be full concierge, we do everything. The agents need to focus on lead gen and business development. We'll do the marketing coordination. We'll do the marketing services. And what I've been seeing is there's a point where they realize there's not enough staff to support hiring more agents that expect that level of service, where you can just do everything for them. And instead, there needs to be at some point a streamlined, reimagined system for them to get their marketing done, but in the easiest, fastest way possible that's brand compliant. And so with you guys, I know that, like you said, Matt, you actually were doing a lot of the stuff for the agents. You probably still are, but at what point does MAXA fit in that it saves your marketing department time? And then love to hear from Remington and Julie too, because you guys are more on my side of the coin, where I think we need to enable the agents, provide like 98% of the work done for them. But at some point we can't just do everything, because that just costs the cost and the staff and the resources is just too big.
Well, I mean, I think my answer will differ from Remington and Julie somewhat, because I'm not operating under multiple brands per se that have their own somewhat style guide, and maybe you're not in, you're likely in other states that are, you know, really expanded, and you're not necessarily having that sort of control over the brand like you would like to have. Other than our South Florida, Miami, and Palm Beach locations, we are situated in the New York metro area. We have a good amount of, you know, abilities to control the brand and design for agents in a very custom, sort of bespoke, high-touch fashion if they want it. But what I find is that this is allowing our designers to get even more custom for those higher end properties, those higher end pitches, those personal promotion and business development projects that need, you know, some very specific design skill set for, and give them some time to make that project perfect. And the low hanging fruit, not to say that anything's low hanging fruit per se, but the stuff that is, you know, sort of churn and burn, assembly line, does not take much work from a skilled designer to need to complete. They actually, if you interview them, they don't even necessarily enjoy doing them, because there's not necessarily like any creativity involved in it. It's just plugging and playing. That has allowed our designers to feel more impassioned for their job, because they're working on things that is more creative and more custom and more important. And then that low-hanging fruit is taken care of by MAXA. And as we get more advanced with MAXA, it's even creeping up there to be even involving more creative design in there. So we're liking that nice balance, because we are known as that brokerage at more the luxury level that is going to provide that high touch to the agent and to the client. So we sort of have to still provide that, but we understand that we're in a world that self-service is everywhere, and you need to provide it.
Remington, you have something you want to add to that?
That was such a good answer. That was spot on, just across the board. I think on my end, what we found is that there's a very fine line between a full service, hands-on, high-touch system and then fostering a culture of extreme entitlement.
Yeah.
And it's very, very hard to find that balance. And over the years, you know, we used to pride ourselves on being that high touch point, high service brokerage. And what we found is that over an extended period of time, the majority of the designer's time, the majority of the marketing department's time is spent going back and forth with the agents. Yes, providing that level of service, but providing it for something that ultimately doesn't matter and doesn't really move the needle. And 5 or 6 years ago, the amount of time that would get spent on just something as, innocuous as like a just listed postcard or something like that, like the absolute bare bone level one product of any real estate company. You know, you'd be going back and forth with the agent 10 times because they want, you know, oh, can this be a little bit bigger? Can I see what that would look like in red? And in the past, you know, our answer would always be, yes, absolutely, happy to provide another round of revisions. And so with MAXA, our plan for 2025 is that it's ultimately going to become kind of the linchpin to a major culture shift that we're going to be trying to push for the company just in general in terms of how the agents interact with certainly the marketing department, but even the corporate entity to some extent. Because the reality is they should be out, doing lead gen, capturing leads, capitalizing on their pipelines. And in the past, a significant amount of their time has been spent going back and forth with us over nonsense. And so giving them the opportunity, especially with the AMP product, automated marketing packages, starting in January on our end, every single agent, whenever they get a listing, they'll receive a package that essentially has everything they could possibly need from a collateral standpoint populated. Their info, their headshot, their logos, photos, all of that stuff. And then they still have the opportunity to come in and swap photos out or make little minor edits. But the ultimate goal on my end is to say, would you rather spend, a week, 2 weeks going back and forth with somebody over, arbitrary changes to something that should have gone out immediately? Or do you want to click one button, maybe 2 buttons, and print with Express Docs? You'll get it tomorrow. You'll get you'll have literally everything you need in a couple of minutes instead of a couple of days or a week. And so I'm excited. I can't wait. Between that and the market stat component, 2025 is looking up, is looking good on our end. I'm very excited.
And one thing too, and you guys might be, I think Brown Harris Stevens could use this feature. Well, maybe everyone would, but what's nice is you can also create, let's say you have a mega team or you have a top producing agent that is very demanding, has a lot of specific layouts and aesthetics that they want. What's nice about MAXA is, and I'm not sure if you guys are using this, is you can just go ahead and take their edits, take their revisions. Once they finalize it, you can turn that design or that layout into a new template and assign it just to them. And so now it's like, great, we did all this heavy duty design work together, revisions. Now it's a template that's finalized. You use this template, so we don't have to go back to the drawing board every time. And when it comes to our automated listing packages, that's something that I'll show you as well, Remington, is you can actually design a automated packet to be created for every listing of one particular team or agent, and that they already approved and they love those designs. And every time they get a new listing, they get those designs created on behalf of that listing that was specific to just them. So there's a ton of control of, once you finalize the design with that team or agent, that they get those designs recreated all the time. So pretty neat. And what about Julie? What would you say?
Yeah, our model's a little bit different than what Remington and Matthew described, and we're not providing that direct to agent concierge service or design service. So we're, kind of publishing for the bulk, and then our offices are kind of doing more of that work. But for our team, there is a lot of time saving, and I kind of alluded to this in the beginning about just consolidating things into one platform. We were used to taking one concept, one message, and publishing it in 3 or 4 or 5 different systems with 3 or 4 or 5 different design programs or user interfaces, and that becomes really time consuming. And so by consolidating this down quite a bit, that allows us to, like what Matthew was saying, get a little bit more creative and a little bit more engaging with, like, well, what if we did this? And maybe we can plus this up by spending more time with it, where in the past we just didn't have the space to do that before. And so that's really kind of opened up our design team for some creative thinking.
I don't know if our audience knows that when we launch your guys' platform, we typically launch with hundreds of custom design templates per brand. So Windermere has hundreds of templates, Evie has hundreds of templates for all 3 brands, and then Brown Harris Stevens has their own. And none of your templates look the same. They actually are very unique to your brand, and your marketing teams are adding your own content. It's really cool. With Leading RE now joining us at a partner level where they're designing content as well. I already told you this before, but of course, since you have your own instance and Leading RE has their own instance, their own platform, anything that you guys see in their system that you guys would like to add to your platform, We're currently in the middle of building a feature where it's like a 2-click button where you can look at the Leading RE platform, click copy to my platform. It'll add that template into your system as a master template where you can add your logo, your colors, your fonts, and then set it as a real template for all agents or specific agents. But until then, while we're building that feature, if there's anything in that Leading RE platform that you guys like, it could be their new listing presentation, it could be all they just dropped 30 new Instagram story layouts that are really cool. And you're like, hey, can we have those? Just ask, we'll move it over for you. I'll have my team copy it over. We can also stylize it with you and make sure that it fits your brand guidelines. Because to me, that's the fun part, is those design drops where the agents go, what? There's no more designs now? And they just keep looking at all the new content. And it makes it more interesting because other tools that are like design tools just aren't as real estate specific as we are, and then obviously not controlled by the marketing department. You guys have the ability to say, hey, yeah, we do want leave behinds, or we do want a pre-listing packet, or we want to provide very specific content that is real estate related. And I've seen all three of you do a really good job at that. So let's see here. I'm seeing the chats going on. The team's working on some stuff. I think if there's any questions from the attendees, I'll give them a minute to drop it into the chat since they're in here. If not, for the ones that are here watching, we'll send a follow-up summary of this recording anyways. I'd love to have our team meet with you, properly show you the system and all the different ways that you can customize the MAXA platform. Of course, one of the big ones that the questions we're hearing are related to the MLS data. So in the Leading RE platform, because that's worldwide, we can't integrate with all the different MLSs and local MLSs to auto-populate into those templates. But for, let's say, Windermere and Matt, Brown Harris Stevens and Ebby, they have their MLS feeds integrated into those templates, which is a huge piece, because not only can an agent choose a template like a property flyer or a brochure, type in their address, and the design will open with that layout and the MLS data, description, property photos already implemented. But also we've now taken that data so that every time an agent gets a new listing or that listing status changes, we can create a suite of content around that property, flyer, mailer, social piece, email, newsletter, and then send it to the agent to review. So the MLS data makes a big difference. Remington was talking about our market stats data, which we do have the neighborhood market stats data around overall like closed properties in the last month, medium sale price, change from the last year, a bunch of new listing data that we can bring in per sub area or neighborhood or boundary. Matt, I'm not sure if you got into that, but I'd love to go through that with you and show you, because we do have the data of New York and we have all that as well. Guys, I really, really appreciate our partnership over the last few years. Thank you so much for joining our webinar today. And Matt, Julie, Remington, you guys are amazing. The amount of experience you have and what you've brought to MAXA and the feedback you guys have provided us has gone so far. We've reached a lot of people now. I don't know if you guys know, I mean, when I was working with Remington, we probably had 50 brokerages that we were working with and trying to really provide a product fit for the real estate brokerage. And now that we're just shy of 300 brokerages now, and reaching over 200,000 agents, it's pretty neat to compound this feedback and keep building for you guys. So thank you again for your trust and your partnership and believing in us.